Every life has a story, and every story is worth sharing. Your story, my story, and our story speak of victory and defeat, joy and sorrow, resilience and vulnerability. They are not just our story, they are Christ's story in us. They are Kingdom Stories from Down Under.
It is not often that you meet somebody with whom you have so much in common. Our guest tonight and I share so many things. We both come from a family of 7 siblings. He migrated to Australia over 20 years ago. I did the same. He studied at the West Australian Bible College, and so did I, just before him, I think, or maybe after him. He studied a bachelor's degree in business, and so did I. He's a pastor of a church, and so am I. So there's 5 of them. He's ministering, he's working, and he does both kingdom ministry and church ministry, and so do I. So there's 6 of them. And I'm sure there'll be a 7th one tonight, which we are yet to discover. Tonight we welcome to the show Arnel Infante. Welcome, Arnel.
Well, thank you so much. Well, that was a surprise for me to know that there's so many things that...
Yeah, I didn't know. You know, you sent this quick bio, even though we've known each other for almost 20 years. When I saw this bio, I thought, man, it's like I'm reading my own little biography there. And it's just interesting. But, you know, we've clicked from the first time we met each other, which was fantastic. So sometimes you don't know why. And obviously, now we see that we've got so much in common. So you migrated in 1997 from the Philippines. Which island?
Actually, in Luzon.
Okay, the main one?
Yeah, main one. So
north, south?
It's from the north in Pampanga, Angeles City.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I've been there. I've actually gone through there. You know Urdaneta?
Yes, that's in Pangasinan. Yeah.
The crossing? Massive. Yeah. So I was stuck there once in the middle of the night with my wife coming from 1,000 Islands, trying to hitch a ride to Baguio up. And we were stuck in this intersection for a few hours.
Wow.
And somebody said, there is a bus. So we had to leave 1,000 Islands and get back to Baguio, and they told us that there's no buses. But there was a bus going your way, and that bus dropped us off in Urdaneta, and they said in about 2 hours, there's a bus that comes from Manila. Just wave it down, and it will pick you up. And we were just waiting and waiting. It was longer than 2 hours. It seemed forever. And it was in the middle of the night, pitch dark, and eventually this bus showed up. And it stopped, because they had to stop there. It was a stop sign to cross the road, and we just went crazy. And they took us on, and we both fell asleep all the way to Baguio. There's still another 4 hours from there, or 3.5 hours, all the winding roads up the mountain.
Yeah.
That's our excitement of the Philippines. So were you near the ocean?
No, not really. No.
Hills?
We're living in the hills, so...
veggie gardens, market gardens?
No. Actually, we're in Angeles City, close to... it's like... it's not really in an island in the sense of we're close to the beach or the coast, but just a small...
Close to the airport?
Yeah, airport. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Clark.
Yeah.
I was amazed at what the Americans built there, you know, at Clark. Yeah, I think that airport, that part is growing. They put some motorways there last time I was there as well. So you grew up in a town, quite a large city, not a small town.
Yeah, it is, yeah.
And 7 siblings, where do you fit in?
Well, I'm the middle child.
Okay, the 4th.
Yeah, the 4th. So, it's...
how many daughters? How many sisters?
I have 2 sisters, elder sisters, and the eldest is, my eldest brother, and then there's 3 others after me. Yeah, boys, 3 boys.
3 boys.
It's interesting growing up with...
So you had an older brother and 3 younger brothers?
Yes.
Okay. How was it like growing up in the Philippines?
Well, it was very tough in a sense, because 7 siblings, you don't have much.
No.
I mean, my mom is a teacher. My dad, he just worked part times and things like that. But having 7 kids in a family, of course, it's really hard.
Yeah.
Especially for the parents to bring up these.
Did you own the property or were you renting?
No, we have our own.
Okay.
Yeah. Because when I was a baby, my dad used to work overseas, so they were able to have something,
They
to
saved up.
invest something. Yeah, they have set up the house and he's got a small business, but that business that he's got, it didn't work very well. So yeah.
So where did he work? What country?
Philippines.
Oh, in the Philippines.
Yes.
So not overseas, but on a
Oh
different
no, my
island.
dad. Sorry.
Oh.
You work in? I think it was in Vietnam, Laos, Vietnam. That's how they
Okay.
called that before. That was
Yeah.
in 1962.
What was he doing?
I think he works in a construction.
Wow.
Yeah.
Nice.
I didn't know much about it because
You were small.
I was
Or
a
not
baby.
even alive.
I was a baby when he was away.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, if our listeners are hearing a lot of noise, there's a massive storm that has just come through,
It's
and
relentless.
we can hear it. So if you're listening and you're thinking, "What's that noise behind?" Well, just know our studio is quite well camouflaged, but the noise of the storm is massive. There's a massive storm outside, so just know that.
Yes.
Okay, interesting. So you went to the school where your mom was teaching?
Yes, she was my teacher in I think that was, we call it in grade 2 or 2nd grade. Yeah.
Wow,
She was my teacher. I think all of us kids, she became our teacher in that.
Was there a lot of pressure on you?
I don't know.
Probably don't remember.
There's nothing. I can't remember. It was too long ago, and I guess we just enjoy going to school. I
Yeah.
enjoyed going to school when I was a kid. I don't even have to study sometimes, but I know when the teacher teaches, I can pick it up, and that's how.
So
it
if you
went.
paid attention in class, you would have just picked it up.
Yeah.
Yeah, same
I
here.
did, yeah.
In
Oh.
fact, I never liked homework. I never did homework.
Yeah.
Basically.
It's only in high school that when I realized I need to study and I need to do this. But in primary school, I can't remember I made a lot of effort to study.
What's your first memory of childhood?
That's a good question. My first memory of childhood, I think so one I can remember is when I got lost in the market.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I went with my mom and I was just I got lost, and I don't think people know this or even my family, but I was freaking out. I thought, I was yelling and
Lost.
mom, calling out, yelling out, and yeah. And
How old were
luckily,
you? 4 or
I
5?
was about 6 or something.
6, yeah. Do you remember the first day of school, or
Can't remember the first day of school.
did you have uniforms or no uniforms?
No, we didn't have any uniform. That
Shoes?
we don't wear shoes at that time, but
Just
we have what we
flip-flops.
call thongs or slippers.
Flip-flops,
Yeah,
yeah.
flip-flops.
Yeah.
We call them flip-flops.
And a lot of the times you had to leave them at the front of the class.
Not necessarily.
Not there.
No. But I can remember I have some. There's some kids. They're really poor that they don't have thongs or slippers or anything.
They can
Yeah,
just
they
barefoot.
go barefoot.
Yeah. What was the main playtime during the day? What would you play with on the streets?
Wow. That's something that I can always remember. I enjoyed that time because we played after school.
Yes.
After school until it
Dark.
gets dark, until your parents call you for dinner
Yeah.
and things like that. And that was fun.
Anything?
Yeah, anything.
No particular basketball, soccer, or
No. I think we used to play what we called a softball,
yes,
kind of
with a bat.
bat. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And some
From the Americans.
And there's some Filipino
Sports.
that we grew up with, and I don't think a lot of kids knows those sports that
Yeah.
we played before.
What was your favorite food when you were little?
It's still my favorite. It's called sinigang.
Sinigang?
Which is, it's
Yeah.
a sour soupy food.
Nice.
I think you've tried the milkfish in the Philippines.
Okay.
You've been there. Yeah, it's called sinigang. So
I think I had it in
yeah, sour
Dagupan.
cooked with tamarind or some of the sour fruits that we have, and they cook that
Possibly.
very nice.
I think I had a fish soup in Dagupan.
Oh yeah.
where they dry the fish, but it was fresh, so maybe.
I do cook that most of the time because that's the food that I always miss.
Oh, then it's easy for me. The probability, if I come over, the probability of having one is quite high, isn't it?
Yes.
Okay. And I thank you for the sweets you brought tonight. You didn't come empty-handed. It's amazing because this custom to bring something, this is not Australian, this is Filipino.
Yes.
And you know what kids love, obviously, because you were there.
Yes.
And I remember also as being a child how difficult it was for us, you know. But we, you know, I had my first banana when I was 13. There are no bananas, obviously, in Europe. Well, they are in Spain and South Italy, but not where we grew up. So there were no bananas in the shops. Some shops in the major cities would get them, but they would disappear within an hour or two. So basically, yeah, I was 13 before I had my first banana, which is incredible.
I think they're one of my favorite fruits because we grew up with them.
Yeah,
different kinds of bananas.
I know the little ones.
Little
really
ones, the one that
sweet.
you cook. Yeah, yes, you're right.
Yeah, I had cooked bananas a lot in the Philippines, fried ones. Unfortunately, they're quite fatty because they always, you know, they put them with a lot of sweets, a lot of oil, really yum. But you know, you gain weight when you go to the Philippines, and they like their sweets a lot.
Yes.
And balut, no, not my favorite, but I had to try it.
I never tried. I tried them when I was a little kid, and that's the only time that I've tried them.
So for those people who don't know what balut is an egg. It's a hatched egg, a duck hatched egg that has the little baby, and they're just about to come out, and then they boil it, and then you're supposed to just eat it like that, and just put some vinegar and salt and have it. So, but apparently it's very healthy for you, good for you, and very common. You know, on the side streets you see them everywhere. They also have a one-day fried chicken as well. Yeah. So basically, the chicken is almost alive. They just put
them quack. I think
and they just put them straight in the sizzling oil, and you eat it with bones, with everything. Well. When you were growing up, were your parents Christians?
No, they're Catholics.
Okay.
I grew up in a
Did you go to church,
family.
to mass?
I went to church a lot when I was growing up, especially when I was in high school, because my eldest sister, she loves to go to church.
Okay.
And she always takes us with her.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. And when did you discover the Lord? Was it in Australia or no? Later on in.
I was in the Philippines when I met the Lord. Yeah.
Okay. So you, after primary school, you went to high school.
I went to high school. I went to a Catholic school in the Philippines. So
same city at home, staying at home.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Did you choose a trade there or a specific subject?
No, they're all fixed. All the subjects are there.
Cool.
They're the ones that you need to take. Yeah.
Were you quite rebellious in your teenage years, or not really?
I guess I was.
In what ways?
I think I always want to get away from home at a young age.
Yes.
And I think I could call that a rebellion because I want to live by myself and be independent and experience life.
Yeah.
And discover the world. I think that's what I want to do at that time.
Yeah.
Yeah. So at a young age, I want to work. You know, I look for work, whatever things that I can do, and and.
Were you a person who saves? Were you saving money or were you spending the money?
No, I was at that time. It's only I started working and I was studying at that time. So I just used my money for studies.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, of course my brother was helping me at that time because at 17 I left home and I stayed with my brother in Manila, and I went to college then, and that's when I started working as well.
What was your first job in Manila?
My first job was at McDonald's.
Great.
Yes, it's the second McDonald's in the Philippines at that time.
Must have been difficult to get a job in there, wasn't it?
It is very difficult to get to McDonald's and at that time, but I was one of what you call those lucky guys who made it. You know, because they're very strict when it comes to working at McDonald's at that time.
Yeah,
because of the standards.
Yes. So that was good discipline because apparently, their training program is very good. So
Yes,
their
it
coaching, their mentoring is very good.
Yep.
Did it set you up with discipline, with manners, with...
Yes, definitely.
What are some of the benefits? What are some of the skills that you
I think it's
developed
the
there?
social skills that
Yeah.
you are interacting with people, and at the
Mhm.
same time, the training that they have, they train you in a lot of different areas and things, and you just learn so much, and you really learn to compete with people that you are working with because they have a lot of incentives and a lot of award programs for the workers, and
Yes.
and trainings. So you really need to do well
Yeah.
and to get promoted. So from being a night crew, I got promoted eventually I got promoted into a managerial position.
Wow.
Yeah.
How long did that take? About a couple of years?
Right, a couple of years.
Because it's slow, no matter how good you
Yeah.
are. You have to go
it's
through the
slow.
ranks,
Yeah,
don't
yeah,
you?
true. Plus, I was undergraduate at that time, so
Yeah.
they won't just promote you straight away because they normally choose the ones who have graduated, have a degree, and you
Yeah.
know,
So you were working and you were studying at the
I
same
was studying
time?
at the same time.
Great. Was it far away to get to work in the uni? Because Manila is a
yeah,
crazy
it's
city.
always, since I was living in Manila at that time, it takes a lot of time to travel. 'Cause
Yeah.
especially my brother is living in other part of Manila,
Yeah.
and I was working in Quezon City, and they're on the other side, so I have to travel.
By
And
bus?
the traffic, by bus and
Or
by
motorbike?
jeepney, whatever
Jeepney,
means that you can get to get to work,
Yeah. Fall asleep on them?
I fall asleep at school. That's
No girlfriends? Oh, lots of girlfriends.
at that time. Well, of course there was some.
Yeah.
I was very quiet when I had a girlfriend at that time, but yeah, I had girlfriends. Yeah,
Alcohol?
I did
Yeah.
a lot of
A lot.
alcohol at that age. And
Yes.
I don't think my family knew about that.
Yeah.
They
Well,
probably will know now.
They were so far away.
Yeah.
Well, not really that far. Probably only
Yeah, I
80,
did,
100
yeah,
kilometers
I did
away.
a lot of alcohol, and when I was at college, the pressure, and then
Yeah.
lots of my friends were drinking and smoking. So to get
Was part of the peer.
it's part of that pressure that you have to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, to be able
No
to-
drugs?
That's a good thing. I never tried drugs in my life.
But there was lots there still.
There's lots. There's a
Yeah.
lot of offer. There's a lot of friends, but I knew what it's gonna do to me. So I knew at that time I would say no to this one.
What were you trying to get to? I mean, what were you trying to achieve? What was your goal?
Well, at a young age, I knew what I wanna do,
Yeah.
and that's why at 21 I said I want to finish my studies, have a job, and have a stable job, and and from there, be successful in what I'm doing.
Yeah.
And I think I did that when I was at that age. I knew what I want to do, so I have a very stable job, a good paying job. When after I graduated, I worked with a friend who's got a business, and
So you left McDonald's?
I left McDonald's. I went to work with a very good friend,
Yes.
and it was he's got a very successful steakhouse, a restaurant. So I'm always involved with food business ever
Yeah.
since.
Hospitality.
Yeah, hospitality.
So you worked in waiting or in management? or-
Management. Yeah.
Okay.
It's more all of them are management.
So obviously, working with McDonald's has helped you immensely. Gave you the
it did,
confidence,
yeah. Mhm.
systems, processes,
Yeah,
employment, HR.
That's a big plus if you work with McDonald's, especially at the managerial level, and when you apply for another job. That's always
It's
a thumbs
interesting.
up for
I have a coach,
employers. Yeah.
and he's very successful. And he told me that what he's done to his children, he's got children, and he said when they were employable, when they were 14, he got them all to go to McDonald's and work at McDonald's for a year. And he set them a goal. They had to, they had to make some level in McDonald's. And if they did that, after 1 year, they would get a brand new iPhone. So until then, he wouldn't buy them an iPhone.
All right.
And he said, it was excellent because I couldn't coach them in that year as well as McDonald's would coach them. So it's a free coaching program, he said, for teenagers, and they get paid for it. And you can put a stimulus for them at the end as well. So I can't forget that because I think it's tremendous, opportunity. And obviously, I have a brother-in-law as well who went through the McDonald's, and I think he's one of the most regimented men I know. Very disciplined, very full of integrity with work, with everything, because he went there from a young age and he went through the ranks to get to managerial as well. And he just, he's got a very bubbly personality as well, very good with people. So it did set him up for life, which is good. Great. So you're working in this steakhouse. Are you dating someone at this stage?
No.
No. You don't want to get married.
Other girls,
But you don't want to get married yet.
No.
Okay. What do you want to do next? So what are your thoughts now? You've completed your course in business.
Yep.
You're working for this restaurant, for this steakhouse.
Yep. What's
next for you?
That's when the opportunity to come here nuts in.
Okay.
Yeah. I already became a Christian at that time.
In the Philippines?
When I was in the Philippines.
How did that happen?
Well, I was invited. My sister is always telling us she became a Christian.
Oh.
Yeah, she became a Christian and she was so passionate and on fire telling us about,
and was she in Manila or back in English?
In Manila.
Okay.
Yeah, and she's always telling me about, when, I don't know, she went to this very charismatic church and they were teaching about the 666, the mark of the beast and things like that. And she was telling me about that, and I was listening, and it doesn't really make sense to me. But she's very persistent about it, and one day they invited me to come to the church.
Yes.
And and I knew, and she was telling me, you have to invite Jesus into your heart,
Yeah.
And so and repent of your sins. She's telling me about that. I was thinking about those words, but they don't really make sense. No, I'm already a Christian. I'm a Catholic. I grew up in I go to church, and that's enough. But then there came a time in my life where, is this all about life? And even if you have a good job, there's a lot of great opportunities coming your way. And I don't know, at that time, even when I was at that age, I knew there was something missing in my life.
Yes.
I knew there was something that I need to do. And maybe it's the conviction that when my sister was telling me about, having a relationship with Jesus. And then when I went to that service in the church one night, I decided to give my life to the Lord. And from then on,
Did you go up to the front? Was there an altar call?
Yeah, there was an altar call. It was quite embarrassing at that time, but I did it. Yeah.
Good. And baptism?
Not after that. So that was, I went back to Manila. So I went to the province where my family lives, and I went back to Manila because I was studying, and because there was no one followed me through in my walk with the Lord. So I just went back
to the old life.
To my old life.
Yeah.
For 2 years, maybe. Yeah, about 2 years. And although I knew, I've accepted the Lord, but I was living a life that is not really pleasing to God.
Yes.
And then I came across with a group of Christians at the university where I was staying, or at the college where I was studying, the Campus Crusade for Christ.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, so I met a bunch of Christians there, and they encouraged me with my Christian walk. And I met a guy, and he discipled me. And did a Bible study with him, got involved with Campus Crusade. And I found a new meaning in my Christian life at that time, because
wonderful.
I met a bunch of wonderful Christians who encouraged me and helped me along the way. Discipled me and helped me to grow in my walk with the Lord. and encouraged me to attend leadership trainings and seminars. And I've learned how to share the gospel with the 4 spiritual laws. And
Great.
I shared it with, when I was at the college, when I was in college, I think I've shared, it's a goal for us to share the gospel for at least, I think, 2 or 3 people in a week.
Okay.
So I did all those. I
Yes.
was so passionate about doing it.
Yeah.
And even discipled a few of the students. Yeah, that was very, very, very good experience.
And back home, your parents still?
Eventually, my parents, no. I think my mom became a Christian at that time.
Mm-hmm.
Or my mom already became a Christian. My dad became a Christian before he died.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Wonderful. And so you went back in Manila. You went to a charismatic church or a Baptist church or a?
No, I went to an Alliance church. I don't know if you don't know
No.
it's an evangelical church.
Okay.
Yeah, I got involved in that church.
Were you
and-
baptized?
Yes, I was baptized there.
Okay.
So that's where I got baptized.
Did they believe in the Holy Spirit and baptism or not really?
No, that's a good question. That's a good thing because they don't actually emphasizing
Yeah.
all those kind of giftings. That's why I grew up with not. So I grew up in my Christian life not really. That's speaking in tongues is not for me, and
Yeah.
all those kind of
Weird things.
weird things,
Yeah.
And we laugh when we see those things, and
Yeah. Of course. So then a new chapter opened for you to come to Australia. An opportunity came
Yep. Mm-hmm.
to study here.
Yes.
What to study? To study.
To start,
Bible
I
college?
didn't know when I didn't know what that I'll be studying here in Australia when I came, because there's this guy from here, from Australia.
Yes.
He actually lives in Albany. I didn't know them. I came to know them through a friend,
Yeah.
and from friend here they went to the Philippines not knowing really what they're into.
Yes.
So they come with this family, and they're friends of mine.
Mhm.
And one day they invited me to come with them because they're ministering to that. They're going to a place in Pangasinan
Yeah.
where they're going to minister.
Okay.
And I tag along. I went, and there I've experienced the power of the Holy Spirit in my life. That's what you call.
Wow.
I spoke in tongues,
Yes.
and And,
You couldn't go back to that church anymore.
Yes, that's true.
You are an outcast now.
Slowly, yeah. I moved out from that church.
Yeah.
Mhm. And this guy, with this, I found it weird when he was saying this, and he told me, and you know what, the Lord is telling me you're going to Australia.
Wow.
And
He was prophesying.
He was prophesying to me, and I didn't pay attention to that.
Yes.
I said, May in Australia,
Ah.
I never had plans to go to Australia. I don't even know where Australia is and this. And and they went back to Australia after their holidays, and he kept ringing me or sending me letters. Have you heard from God?
Yeah.
And I said, what about that? Have you heard from God? He wants you to come here in Australia. And I find it weird because he's telling me that.
Yes.
How could God speak to him in that sense?
Yeah.
But he's very persistent about it. And I think 6 months after that, he rang me.
Yeah.
And he said, I really believe that the Lord wants you to come here.
Mm.
So start working on your visa.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think I felt that the Lord was prompting me at that time. Yeah, maybe there's something, I'll give it a try. So I tried. So I applied. I think the Lord has already prepared that way for me. So
Yeah.
my first trip in Australia was all easy. In fact, there's some other things that happened that made me believe that the Lord really wants me to come here. And at that time that was I think in 1994, for a single guy to come here in Australia, it was very
Almost
difficult.
impossible.
Almost impossible. but God made a way.
So what kind of visa did you come on?
Just
Tourist?
tourist visa. Yeah.
Okay. Where, Melbourne or Perth?
Perth.
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 Okay.
Yeah. So I have to present all these
Everything.
documents and everything, and I wasn't sure whether I'll be accepted. But when I was at the immigration, I come across with an old friend of mine,
Yes.
and she saw me on the I was lining up. I said, "Where are you going?" I said, "Oh, what are you doing here?" I said, "I'm applying for a visa in Australia." "What are you gonna do there?" I said, "I'm nothing. I'm just going for a holiday and meeting some friends." And then she said, "Are you sure you're gonna come back?"
Yes.
I said, "Yes, of course I'll come back." Because she said, she's the secretary of the second assistant who
Yes.
approves the visa.
Oh.
So are your paperwork complete? I
Yes.
said, "Yes, give them all to me."
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and the next day I got a visa to Australia.
Praise God.
Yeah, and the guy Michael is a French guy. He sent me the money,
To buy the
airfare
ticket.
to come here to buy the ticket. So that was when I was on my way here. I was really I did believe in my heart that the Lord is really calling me. He's got something for me here. And then I come across with that word in Hebrews 11:40, which says, "God has planned something better for us, so that only together with us would they be made perfect." It doesn't make a lot of sense to me at that time, because later on I realized, the context of that is about all those who've gone through, the clouds of witnesses and all those
Yes.
things. But the Lord is really great, because He brought that verse to me a few months ago.
Mm-hmm.
He brought it back to me just to remind me about that promise that He has for me
Yes.
in that scripture. Yep. And when I arrived here in Australia, that was a time when they have a heat wave in February. And I said, "Is this Australia? It's like a desert."
It's hotter than the Philippines.
Yeah, and it was hot, and it wasn't like what it is before.
Yeah.
Just all bushes and stuff. And
Yeah.
yeah, and I was picked up by a friend, and then after that I was they drove me to Albany, so I stayed in Albany.
A lot cooler there.
A lot colder there. It was very cold actually in the morning and afternoon, so I felt very cold there. This guy who invited me, who went to the Philippines, I stayed with him and his wife for 3 weeks in Albany.
Yes.
So I was very happy that I made it.
So you had a 3-month visa, did you? Or 6 months?
Just a month.
1 month.
I can't stay longer, but I said I can only go for a month because of work. And when I was there, I didn't know what to do, because he said, because they work, so
Yeah.
I was stuck in the house.
Yeah.
And he said, "Here are the books. Read all these books, and and read the Bible and pray to God,
Yeah.
and ask Him what He wants you to do."
Yeah.
Yeah, I stayed in the house, and sometimes they come home and take me somewhere, visit some friends or meet some Filipino people who are living in Albany at that time. And when he gets home, he always asks me, "Have you heard from the Lord?"
Yeah.
I said, "No." No, every day that was the routine for more than 2 weeks,
Yeah.
and nothing happening. And I said, "No, I haven't really heard from the Lord."
Yeah.
And so it's time for me to go back to Perth, and I only have a week before my flight back to the
home.
Philippines. Yeah. And so I was really keen and eager to find out what the Lord just wants for me to do.
Yeah.
And then I was staying with a Filipino family, and at one day I was just sitting in the lounge, and I saw a Christian directory.
Yes.
And I opened that Christian directory, and when I opened it, there's all these Bible colleges.
Of course.
And I remember that when I was in the Philippines, I decided to go to the Bible college, and it didn't happen for some reasons. But I was really keen on going to the Bible college, and when I was at that time, when I got involved with Campus Costea and became active in my Christian walk and growing, I want to become a missionary. So I applied to some of the mission organization in the Philippines, and they said, "Have you been to the Bible college?" I said, "No." So that's
no Bible college, no experience.
So that clicked into my mind that I really need to be trained, to get training and go to the Bible college. And I checked all this Bible college, and a friend of mine as well took me to the Bible college, and Riverview was Rhema at that time.
Yeah.
And they didn't accepted me because of, they are not accepting overseas students at that time. And I went to place where I can remember Tabor Bible College at that time. And then I went to the last one was the West Australian Bible College.
Yeah.
And I didn't know how to get there. No one will take me there. So I took a cab.
Wow.
And I thought I was in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah.
Because, the old
West
Australian Bible College is nothing. But I was greeted by these friendly woman who was the secretary of the Bible college.
Yeah.
And I felt there was a very warm welcome for me when I went to that Bible college at that start. And they interviewed me and asked me all of these questions and things. And before I left the Bible college...
Was it Jeff Huster then?
Yes, I met Jeff
And McCormick, Mrs. McCormick?
No, it was Susan Brown at that time.
Susan Brown.
Yeah.
I know Susan.
Yeah.
Okay.
And they interviewed me, and before I left, they gave me the
application
form.
Wow.
And so I had
because they were pre-course accredited.
Yeah, I was, and I just had to work on my visa to come to Australia. And then I went back to the Philippines.
Mm-hmm.
And I was excited because, wow, I'm going to the Bible college and going back to Australia, blah, blah, blah. And I told my friends about it.
Yeah.
And then when I was in the Philippines, it wasn't easy
to get the visa.
To get a visa.
Yeah.
I think I was rejected twice because of the financial support and everything.
Yes.
And so I was really disappointed. And I said, that's it.
You gave up
the third time. And then I got a call from, that's the time that I've already quit my job because I knew I was going in my last application. I've already quit my job. And I think that was about 6 months. My money, my savings are running out.
Yeah.
I have nothing. And then I started looking for a job.
Yeah.
So I got accepted again because of my resume and credentials. So straight away, a good job, a good paying job, better than the last. Mm-hmm. And I was so happy about it. And so I was there for about 3 weeks working.
Yes.
When I had this letter from the Bible college telling me that someone is, sponsoring me.
Wow.
And I was caught between, don't think I've lost my interest of going. You get that disappointment.
Sure.
And you question yourself, is that God's will?
Yes.
And after that, I prayed about it, and I didn't have so much. I don't have money for my airfare or for my pocket money to come to Australia at that time. Although the Bible college mentioned to me that you have a sponsor, you can come. There's no issue with the
paying the school fees,
with the fees and things like that. All you need to do is to come here.
Get your flight.
Yeah, and I made a decision. Okay, I'm going. I'm gonna go to the Bible college. But I was so scared to tell my employer because we already made plans about things and trainings and all these things. And then I'm telling them I'm leaving.
Oh.
But I said, and I was thinking of, I'm just gonna exit quietly and I'm telling them. But of course I was convicted. That was the right thing to do. So I told them about the situation. And guess what? They gave me my whole month salary and extras.
Oh wow!
Just to
were they Christians?
No, they're not Christians. Yeah,
but they just valued you and they valued your development and moved to Australia.
And they said, "I'm glad you told us." And
that's beautiful.
And my sister gave me some money for my airfare, so
you landed here in '97, 3 years after your first visit.
Yes, true.
And did you pass everything, or was it difficult?
It was very difficult. I passed all my subjects, of course, but it was a difficult start at the Bible college.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of issues as well when I think I had issues with the person who was sponsoring me and things like that. And there's a lot of things happen, and even to the point of okay, it's not gonna work. I'm gonna go back home.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think I saw all those challenges and barriers on the things that God wants me to do, and but I stayed.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the Lord made a way for
Mm-hmm.
all those things. I've met a lot of good people who offered me free housings.
Beautiful.
A lot of different stuff that I've that you would imagine.
Yeah.
When God really calls you into something, He will.
He provides the way.
Yeah, and no matter how difficult things may be,
Still single?
I got married, but now I'm single.
No. So when did you get married?
I got married in 2005.
Here in Australia.
Australia.
So in 97 you started Bible college, you finished Bible college, and then you found a job
Yep.
in ministry, or
I was working at the same time.
yeah.
Yeah, and while I was at the Bible college, and then I got involved with the Filipino community here, community church in 1997. That's in 94. They already have this group. There's not too many, a lot of Filipinos in Perth at that time. So they have this multicultural group
Yeah.
where they meet once a week,
Mm-hmm.
and they're focusing on mission. So
Okay.
I was involved with that, and eventually they decided, why don't we start a Filipino church?
Great.
Yeah, so I think that was in 2000 when they started that. I was still at the Bible college. I was actually at Kalamanda Church, was involved there.
Mm-hmm.
And when I graduated, I stayed with the Filipino church,
Yeah.
and someone was looking after that church at that moment. And
Yeah.
only when they left that I was
Appointed.
appointed to be the pastor of the church. Of course,
And
that is
the way for you to stay here.
yes.
Mm-hmm. And then what happened?
And
Were you full time in ministry, or were you working at the same time?
I'm working at the same time from the very beginning
Mm-hmm.
up to this point. Yeah, because it's still a small church, a small Filipino group. Yeah, but I guess.
So in 2005 you met somebody.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. We got married here.
She was Filipino.
Yes, she's Filipino.
From the church.
No, she's because I was. There's a lot of opportunities for me because people, when they know you are single, at that
They all
time I
bring
was
you
already
all
in
their
the 30s,
cousins,
they bring
sisters,
everyone,
brothers. Oh
everything,
no,
yeah.
just
So, I thought I was the most eligible bachelor at that time whenever they do that.
Yeah.
But no, yeah, I met her through a cousin, her cousin. She goes to that church as well.
she was here already, or
No, she was. She was actually working overseas in Oman.
Oman.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Oman.
Yeah.
And we met, and we clicked, and she decided to come over here, and yeah, I think it's about 2 years before we decided to get married. It's a long distance relationship at first, and then she came here, and then eventually we got married.
Mm-hmm. And
And
did you have children?
no,
No children.
no.
She was part with you in the ministry.
She's been part of the ministry, but
Supportive.
unfortunately, the marriage didn't work.
Oh. How long did it work?
11 years.
Oh, it worked for 11 years, or
Yes.
it worked on and off?
No, 11 years. I was married for 11 years. We were married for 11 years. And that is also a big home in my ministry where, maybe I decided to quit the ministry at that time because of what happened. But, things happened, and I realized that I'm not the only pastor who was in that position,
Yeah.
But a lot of things happened from there. A lot of learning and encouragement from people as well. And of course, the Lord is teaching me some other things in that stage of my life. And that's when that Hebrews 11:40, a few weeks ago, that the Lord made me realize that thing, because I've never experienced anything in my life, any problem, big issues in my life, never, ever, ever.
Until then.
And then I came across of that Hebrews 11, where all those heroes of faith has gone through lots of trials and tribulations in their lives.
Yeah.
And I've never learned how to be broken. And I was preaching brokenness, Jesus' brokenness and all those things. I never realized those things. Yeah. And then you are put in that position where you are crushed and broken, really. I mean, it's nothing compared to other people experience, maybe what Jesus did, what he had experienced.
Yeah.
But I believe I was put in that position to experience that kind of brokenness, and that I never experienced in my life.
Did she just leave, or?
It was a process of, there was a process, and she just left.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. It was, and it was, being a minister and being a pastor, it's not something that I was expecting to happen.
No.
It's not something that I would like to happen in my life.
Sure.
But it did happen.
Yeah.
And of course, I had my own failings and my own part on that separation. But I have to come to terms with that for a long, long time.
How long did it take you to heal?
I can say it's only last year. So we got separated in 2016, and I think I withdrew myself from many people that I know who knows what happened. I only stayed with the people in the church because they understood what happened.
So they didn't stigmatize you?
No.
They supported
what I was thinking at that time when it happened, once I tell the congregation what happened, the church will split. The church will everyone will
dissipate.
And it's the opposite.
It grew.
Yeah.
They came together stronger.
And Bob Chapman was with me during that time.
Yeah.
Yeah, he helped me through with it, and a lot of people like Les and Glennis and other people who supported me.
Yes.
And to the point of leaving the ministry, and of course my family. Being a Filipino, and the expectation from families, I was thinking about their expectation from me because I was a pastor. I think I let them down in a way that I didn't tell them straight away what happened to my marriage, and I feel sorry for it. I repented on that because it should be the family who got to know first, and it's there that I've realized how important your immediate families are, and that they will be the one who will support you in your darkest time.
Yeah. And you have brothers and sisters here as well? Or?
No, they all live in the Philippines.
Mm-hmm. So your church is your family, really?
Yeah. Here in Australia, they're my family ever since. Yeah.
So the church on the way, the church,
church,
the church that you pastored, was that the church then as well? Was it the same church?
It's the same. It has changed its name from when it started with the Filipino church.
Yeah.
And starting a church is not easy. There's a lot of things that happens along the way. And then later on, we decided to change it into the Way Christian Church.
Yeah, beautiful. And now you have obviously a large congregation. They're not just Filipinos.
It's not a large congregation. It's still a small church in a sense.
Well, you wouldn't believe this, but the average church in Australia, I think, is 61 people.
Yes, so we're a big church.
So you're at least double that.
Oh, that's good to hear. That's good.
So you've got not just Filipinos. It's 70-80% Filipinos.
No, it's actually probably 98% maybe are
You've
Filipinos.
got the treasurers, or their family, their couple.
And the only Caucasians we've got there was Les and Glennis.
Yeah,
you know them.
Yeah.
And of course the children who grew up here, they were already Australians.
Australianized.
Yeah.
Wow, beautiful church. I've had the privilege to
Yeah.
preach a couple of
Yeah.
times at your anniversaries.
Yeah, you might be coming back again.
Yeah,
Yes.
enjoying the pig, the
lechon.
the pork, obviously roast, and the fellowship. What have you learned through this difficult experience of divorce as a pastor?
I've never understood what people who are separated are going through until you get into that position. Because as a young pastor, even when I was single, I ministered through a lot of people who are having, it sounds crazy, but having a lot of marriage difficulties.
Sure.
Especially with the Filipinos at that time, because I was pastor, they would call me, and I always use this scripture as a basis, and that's why I said I think I'm lacking in that manner that I wasn't married at that time, and I don't have that experience.
Yeah.
But I've learned, and when I got divorced, I realized that I never understood what they went through.
Yeah.
Until I went into that position, into that situation where
Yeah.
I was in.
Yeah, it's a tough one. Eh?
It's very tough.
But your heart has been probably become so much softer.
I guess, in a way.
A lot more love for people, for their situation. What's the legacy you'd like to build for the generations that follow you?
I think what I can say for the generation to follow me is stay true to what God has called you to do. I think in my own experience, I think I can say I did that. I've been faithful to what God has called me to do along the way from the very start that God has called me to come here.
Yeah.
There's a lot of hindrances and obstacles along the way, even to the point that I have all the reason to leave the ministry when my marriage broke down. And I took that as, this is the time for me to leave, but it didn't happen. And I never heard from the Lord that, okay, it's time for you to go.
Yeah.
But just be true to what God has called you to do. And I've seen a lot of Christians who committed themselves to serve the Lord in the ministry, but given up. They've given up and never continue because of their situations in their lives. So I guess for the new generations now, there's a lot of distractions, and there's a lot of things and ways to keep you off focus on the goal.
Yeah.
But I would say that I have run my race very well. I've been running.
Yeah.
I'm still in that race.
Of course.
And I knew one day I'll finish that course, and knowing that we are always victorious in Christ.
Beautiful. Thank you. I honor you. I found the seventh connection point.
Yes.
You spoke about being true to your call. Well, something that I keep saying to myself is this. When the challenges come my way and I feel down, I say to myself, Natanael, you have a higher calling. I keep saying that in my mind, and Paul, who's filming us here tonight, knows that. I often say that. You have a higher calling, you have a higher calling. And I think this sums it all up as well for the legacy that you're building. Thank you for coming to the show.
It's my pleasure. Glad to be here.
I can't wait to see the next chapter, what the Lord is doing in your life and in your ministry. Well, friends, what an amazing story. Even though the challenges came in abundance, both in the Philippines and here in Australia, first on arrival and then later on with marriage breakdown and the challenges of pastoring a church and planting a church, yet Arnel remained true to his call, and that is absolutely beautiful. I pray that this encourages you as well to remain true to your call. I'm sure you know the call of God on your life. This call is a higher calling, so remain on track and don't give up. Remain true to the call of God on your life. If you love this content, please share it with other people, distribute it on the wider world web and also on the channels of the social media. Give us the 5-star ratings on Apple Podcasts, because that prioritizes and lifts us up a little bit. And come back. We can't wait to see you next time at Kingdom Stories from Down Under. I'm Natanael Costea.
Thank you for joining us on Kingdom Stories from Down Under. We'd love it if you would subscribe, rate, and share these stories with your wider community. And remember, every story is worth sharing, including yours.